Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kathleen and today's video I wanted to go ahead and share with you guys the books that I read during the month of January. So January I read a total of 4 books. While not my best, I'm still pretty proud of the fact that I read 4 books. This happens every year, but January I just don't read as much as I want to. I don't know if it has to do with the fact that it's a new year, new school schedule, new work schedule, but it just happens every year. 4 books, it's still pretty good and I'm pretty proud of the numbers. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first book that I read during the month of January is the book that took me the longest to read. I started reading this book back in December and I didn't finish it, so I added it to my January TBR, and I ended up finishing this book a little bit over halfway through January. So it took me most of January to finish this book, and it is Harry Potter and Order of the Phoenix by J.K. Rowling. This is the 5th book in the Harry Potter series and it is the longest book in the Harry Potter series. As you can see, it's about 800 pages. So I knew that going into this book that it was going to take me a while to read it, but this book took over a month and I honestly don't know why, because I love the series. I enjoyed every single moment while I was reading this book. It was just such a great series. It is one of my favorites of all time, so it's not like I was not enjoying myself and I was like pushing myself to read it. It was not. It just took me that long to read it. But anyways, I love this book. Of course, I ended up giving it another 5 stars. This is my second time reading this book. I gave it 5 stars the first time. I gave it 5 stars this time because it's such a great series. Alright, and then the next book that I read is definitely one of my favorite books of all time now. It was just that good, and this book is definitely going onto my favorite books that I read in 2019 because it was just so great, and it is by an author that I absolutely love. He wrote one of my favorite dystopian series, and it is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. Neil Shusterman wrote the Unwind Dystology, which I'm actually planning on reading this year. I'm rereading the series this year and I'm thinking about doing a review, but I don't know yet just because I'm very lazy when it comes to doing reviews, but I do want to. But Scythe it's a sci-fi book with dystopian elements. That's how I would describe it, and it's set in this futuristic world where humans have conquered death. So humans are now immortal. However, because humans are no longer dying, there's this risk of overpopulation. So the Scythedom has been created, and basically it's where these special people are chosen to become Scythes, and Scythes, they choose random citizens to die so that there's no overpopulation on Earth. We have 2 main characters and they are chosen to become apprentices to this side, and this whole thing happens and it's absolutely fantastic. I was expecting to love this book going into it just because I've heard so many great things, but I was not expecting to love it as much as I did. Neil Shusterman has this way of writing like moral dilemmas and creating this world where this moral dilemma is a thing. I just love the way he writes it. It was so good. I heard so many great things about the next book, which is called Thunderhead. I haven't picked it up yet because I heard it ends on a huge cliffhanger, and the third book hasn't even been announced yet. Like, we don't know when it's gonna come out, so I'm kind of holding off on reading the second book. But I gave this book 5 stars. I would give this book 1,000,000 stars if I could. Neil Shusterman has done it again because I love his Unwind Dystology and I love this series as well. Alright, and then the next book that I read in the month of January was Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nagan. This book was the Once Upon a Read-Along's book pick of the month for the month of January. We had our live show a couple weeks ago. I'll leave a link on the screen if you guys would like to check out more of my thoughts and feelings on this book. But this book is a fantasy book. It's about these girls that every year they are selected to become paper girls, and paper girls are basically these concubines for the Demon King. That's basically what it means. They are there for one thing and one thing only, and that is to satisfy the king sexually. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. That's what it is. Our main protagonist, she's chosen, and she obviously doesn't want to be a paper girl. She never thought she would become a paper girl because usually paper girls are chosen within like high class families. In this world, they are divided by classes. There are the human beings, and that's usually who the paper girls are. Then there is like the half demons, and then there is the top tier who are the demons, and the king is a demon king. This book does have sexual violence. It doesn't sugarcoat it. It's not graphic by any means, in my opinion, but it doesn't sugarcoat what is happening to these girls. I've been hearing a lot of hype behind this book, and I thought I was going to at least enjoy it, or I did enjoy it, but I thought that I would have some stronger feelings in regards to the book, and to be honest, I really didn't. I ended up giving this book 3.5 stars. It's not that I hated the book, I really didn't. I enjoyed it. However, I just don't have any special attachments to this book. I didn't really make a connection to the main character. I really didn't make a connection to the story. It just was very unmemorable to me, the story. This book does contain a female-female relationship, which I was actually quite surprised, because when I went into this book, I didn't know that. And when it happened, I was like, huh, I actually like this, because I did feel like the love interest was a good love interest. I actually really liked the love interest, but besides that, this book was just not memorable. It didn't resonate with me, so I will not be continuing on with the series. This is a trilogy. And the final book that I read during the month of January is a book that really disappointed me, because I really wanted to love this book, and it is Pledge by Kimberly Durden. This was my wrapped book for the month of January, and this was a book that I've had on my shelves for a really long time. It is one of the very first books that I bought for my channel when I used to buy books, and the sad thing is that I have the entire series. It's a trilogy and I have all 3 books. So the way I would describe this book is that it's a dystopian with sci-fi and fantasy elements. It's a world where people are divided by class. It's a caste system, and all the caste system are divided by the type of languages they speak. Our main character she's special because she's able to understand all the languages, despite the fact that she's never learned it. Some languages she's never heard before, and she's able to understand what people are saying. And so she has this special gift that she's supposed to keep quiet. I enjoyed the book. I actually really loved the world with the whole caste system and everything. I loved the magic. I just didn't care for anything else. The main character, she's very annoying, and there is romance in this book, but the romance is very insta-love. It's so insta-love, it's ridiculous, and it's one of the reasons why I didn't like this book as much as it was, because in this entire book I was just rolling my eyes at how ridiculous the insta-love is. She meets this guy at a club, and basically there's a connection, and I'm just like, you just met this guy. It's fine to admit that you're attracted to him, but you're not in love with him, and that's basically what happened. I was very annoyed by this main character, and usually for me, main characters can either make or break a book, and that's what ended up happening. The main character really did break this book for me. It was a 2.5 stars. Don't think I will be continuing on with the series, which is so sad, because again, I have the entire series. And there you go, guys. That is the books that I read during the month of January. I kind of had a great and not so great reading month, because I found another favorite of mine through Scythe. It was a great book, but I also read some books that were not so great, like The Pledge. Let me know how your reading was this month. Did you have a great book that you read, or did you have a not so favorite book that you read? Because I would love to know. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if you did, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. All of my social medias are linked down below, including Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads, if you like to follow me on those platforms. I hope to see you guys on my next video. Have a good day, guys, and keep reading. Bye!